All right, all right. Welcome back, everyone. Here is part 2 of my interview with my personal functional medicine doctor, Dr. Anthony G. Beck. If you haven't listened to part 1, absolutely do that because we set the framework for what we're going to be talking about today. Today, we're going to look at ailments, dis-ease, how to actually diagnose dis-ease, not by just pushing pills on someone, but actually internally you being able to solve things like diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, things that everyone just thinks they have because their doctors have told them that this is just what you have and here are the 19 pills that you need to take every day and God knows how much you need to pay in medical bills to make that happen. Dr. Beck has a completely different approach, and he's going to talk about the balanced protocol and what that is all about, and how through diet and some simple supplementation, you can actually cure your own quote-unquote dis-ease. So without further ado, here's part 2 of my interview with Dr. Anthony G. Beck. It's funny because I feel like as you grow older, you know that you get what you pay for, and that's true across anything, like a Ferrari is going to be better than a Hyundai, like you get what you pay for.
Somebody's happy with the Hyundai.
Yeah, whatever, obviously to taste, but a old Dell laptop from 10 years ago that you can buy for $100 is not going to perform as well as a new MacBook Pro or some new, whatever. It's just not. So that was the first thing that I was like, you know what? That's true in life. Like, these supplements are more expensive, but when you explained that to me, that was like, oh, damn, I'm eating vitamin D that's from a microwaved fish. Like a fish doesn't even need vitamin D. What the hell am I doing putting that in my body? That was like, oh.
I forgot I told you about that. See, that's the funny thing. Sheeps and land animals, they do need vitamin D, right? But fish don't.
I was like, so why am I even putting that in? So
it's an interesting concept.
And then the other thing, I kind of like looked at, my I have like on my table, like all these supplements that I would take in the morning. And at the time when I met you, I was probably taking, I don't know, 15 pills a day, all these things. And I was like doing all this math. And after I worked with Dr. Beck, I now take like 4 things, like literally there's 4 bottles. That's it. That's all I take. So I'm like looking, okay, this is X dollars. But when I calculated all the fucking shit that was sitting on my table, I was like, you know what? I'm probably paying the same thing in total for this crap that now I realize is crap. And it was just like the one thing I want to say, and I want to kind of backtrack. I stopped intermittent fasting. And for those that don't know, intermittent fasting is like you actually eat for an abbreviated period of time. I wasn't even eating. I ate 1 solid meal a day. I was doing like protein shakes and bulletproof coffee. And again, I'm telling you, I felt amazing, really amazing. I switched to my new diet plan with Dr. Beck. I'm eating more than I have in probably the last 2-3 years. More meat, like more solid meals, sitting down, eating more, etc. I'm leaner than I've ever been in my entire life. This is really funny. My friends are going to laugh, but like we were in Mexico, people called me genetically modified. They were like looking at me. They're like, dude, you're genetically modified. It's not possible.
Ilan, GMO.
Yeah, they're like GMO Ferdman. And I'm working less at it now. Like I don't have to work out even as hard at the gym. It's almost like the system is doing the work for me. Yeah. And it's really been a revelation. And that's why it was so important for me to like
was appropriate and on board. And it was beneficial for that season. People just don't know when to come off. Does it do those things like, stimulate stem cells and promote longevity and get you more towards the caloric restriction and all the anti-aging benefit? Well, yeah. But here's the thing. The body isn't stagnant. It's not like that. It's just like, I've worked with a lot of bodybuilders and people in that competitions and stuff. And you train different pre-show, right? You eat different to get a certain reaction. So the body is very amazing like that. But I want people to realize that I'm not poo-pooing all these different mechanisms or methods. They are fine. They have validity. It's just that if you don't know how it's affecting you, then you don't know. And you're just beating around the bush, and it has the potential to get you lost. You just can't keep walking through the forest with good intentions and submitting it to the universe and God, and they will get. No, it's not going to just get you there. Good intentions is how the road to hell is paved, right? Yep. And I tell patients, at least you're walking, at least you're searching, and that brought you to me.
Yeah,
I don't know everything. Right. But I just have a different framework and I'm pioneering that. So one of my other big differences to let everybody know is you can have information, but if you don't do it in the right order.
Yeah.
It makes sense. You have to do things in the right order. Think about like a project of remodeling your house, right? You know that you're going to have to tear down, clean out, then rebuild, then prep the wall, then put the top coat on, and then there's an order to things. What if you did them in the wrong order, right? What if you started, you won't have the same end result. So it's the order of operations, just like in math. You got to add and subtract, then you multiply and divide, then you do there is an order to things. So that's the difference between, I think, me and everybody else, because I don't know of anybody that also speaks of order of operations. And the reason why I've come to know this is not that I came up with the system. It presented itself. It manifests by looking at patients' stories and going, hold a minute. Because as humans, we really are wired. We have a penchant to recognize patterns. That's why we profile and we look for data points and things like that to steer us, right? With more data, we can go, oh, that's how it is for the body. But most people don't do things in an order. They're like, oh, well, detox is great. Oh, I want a detox.
Yep.
Detox, this 3-day detox, the 7-day, the 10-day, the 14-day. Good God, all these different days of detox. Well, what do you think you're detoxing? And you know what? I detox last. In my protocol, there's 8 keys. Detox is last. Because people don't know that when you're detoxing, you now increase your need for nutrients, because who's doing the work? If you're putting this new stimuli to it, you think the currency is the same? Like you can invite a bunch more people over for the party and not need more chairs and plates? Right? You got, but people don't think that way. They just boom, oh, detox, and then they'll think, well, I'm gonna soak my feet in this little water bath. That's a little herb patches on the bottom of my feet. Yeah, who else in nature does that? I mean, I'll give $1,000 if you show me a mammal that does it. Right? I mean, you got, and you just can't think that if you drink a bunch of chlorophyll and be like Iron Man, which I absolutely love. Chlorophyll is my favorite substance ever. That's going to be adequate detox. You got to stop putting things in. If you think you can just sit there and have 2 cups of bulletproof coffee every morning and 2 old fashions or martinis every night and detox just by taking these drinks, you're out of your mind.
Yeah,
it just won't work. You can't do it. You have to shift the body into gears to do it. So it's about the order in which you do it, right? So that's really some of the differences for me, is really emphasizing the patient's own unique story, that everything is connected. Their environmental inputs have a lot to do with their current status. Nothing's going to stay static. You need to quantify yourself. And then when you have direction to take, then you have to do it in the correct order, and then you monitor it, right?
Absolutely. Now, I want to just switch gears a little bit, because I came to you and I was like what I felt like was my peak physical and mental condition when we met. For me, it was more like, I know I am pushing my body at 100% every single day. My mind, how is that affecting my body? That was really important for me. And from I'm really interested in longevity and, aliveness and all that stuff. So that was important for me. But a lot of people also come to you with some serious dis-ease, like they're really out of whack. Yeah. So I want to kind of just turn the corner a little bit and talk, because there might be people listening who are suffering from, a fibromyalgia or rheumatoid arthritis, or God knows what, diabetes, or
all curable.
Exactly. That's what I want you to talk about, because
I'm not curing it. I'm going to show you how to cure it.
That's what I want you to talk about. Talk a little bit about patients that come to you that do have dysfunction in their body, and what that process is like, and how you work with them as well, because I think that's really important.
Yeah. Well, I like to nicely refer to myself as an upstreamist. Right? The ones that think I'm kind of a charlatan will call me an extremist, but no, I'm an upstreamist. And what do I mean by that? I look upstream at downstream problems. Okay, so if we walk into a room and the water's overflowing and we see all the water on the floor and going, oh, that's the problem. It's not the water being on, it's the floor. We start cleaning it up. Well, let's just keep, okay, more mops, more mops. Somebody's going to go, how about we look upstream and turn off the damn problem?
Yeah.
That's what I teach people to do, okay? The thing about it is no matter how a disease, I say that diseases don't exist. Well, at least not in the way that we think they do, okay? There is no picture of fibromyalgia. There's no picture of rheumatoid arthritis. There's no picture of diabetes. It's a checklist of diagnoses. In other words, it's differential diagnosis. We look at certain things and go, oh, yeah, you have it. So then people go, oh, I have it. I have diabetes. I have it. And so now I have to treat this thing with glucophage and glyburide and metformin and insulin shots and now just eat a bunch of, sugar-free sweeteners. How did that? That's what medicine. Why medicine? What did it? There's really only 5 causes of every disease known to mankind. And I'm going to give them to your audience right now. This is really it. They can all be truncated down to one of or multiple of these 5.
Wow.
Nutritional deficiencies, right? We always like to use the deficiency of vitamin C causes scurvy. You imagine that. You give vitamin C, disease is gone, right? So we know that it has the power to do that, okay? So if you have deficiency in nutrients, all things predicated upon that could have dysfunction. Magnesium, over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body. Zinc, 200. What if you're deficient in those? Now, for you, it might manifest in erectile dysfunction. The exact same situation through your genetics and uniqueness, right? Biochemically and environmentally, it might give you migraines. It might give another person, psoriasis. It's weird like that. So nutritional deficiencies. The next thing is stress. Now, I'm not talking about just, oh, my God, my boss is a prick. I'm talking about physical or psychological, environmental, real or perceived. Like there's some people, you're going, dang, how come you aren't stressed? And like, I'm just taking it. I'm just that's who I am. It's totally cool. There's some people who are built to freaking have 6 kids running around the house. Not this guy, right? So the thing is that I have a lot of military special forces guys, do some work with SOCOM. And so these guys are breaching, they're teaching people how to blow up doors and then go in. You sit there and you keep going boom, 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 day after day, week after week, that affects the body. It's stress. It has a physical impact. So stressors, but it can also be psychological, not feeling loved at home, spouse, family issues, emotions that go way back. So stress, that's number 2. Number 3, microbes. Dude, bacteria, fungus, viruses, parasites, they're omnipresent. They are here before us. They'll be here after us. Matter of fact, they're going to be our fix. I'm a big microbe guy. I love microbes, okay? But there's good and the bad and the ugly, right? It's the Clint Eastwood clan, right? So the thing is that you got to take a look at microbes. They cause, right? We kind of know that. Oh, strep, MRSA, infection, vaginitis. Right? So we know microbes. Most people get that, hence all the damn antibiotic use. Number 4, allergens. You could have a food allergy to something, right? Because, for all amounts of reasons, just like I was saying earlier, so you might be allergic to avocado, right? I'm not an anti-gluten guy at all.
Yeah.
Okay? For some people, absolutely. Is gluten sensitivity real? You damn right it is. It's more than just celiac. I know that because I've done thousands of immunological markers, and I know for a fact that gluten can cause an immunocompromise, period.
Wow.
For some people it does, some people it doesn't. And there's a genetic component, and there's an HLA-DQ enzyme, it's in your genes, they'll do it. So it could be allergens, and it could be something that you might think is healthful. I had a patient the other day up there in, your neck of the woods, you're over in Jersey, right?
Yep.
And she eats lox every morning, right? And she couldn't figure out why she was having these kind of things, going to the heart doctor and figuring out why she's having palpitations. She gets this, the monitor on and whatever. And I'm like, well, I'll take her through balanced protocol. We tested for some allergens, a standard thing. I'm not talking about IgE testing like, allergens do. They think that's the only allergy test that you do. I'm not talking about crappy ALCAT. I'm talking about a lymphocyte response assay. And we actually looked and saw salmon she was highly reactive to.
Wow.
And guess what happened?
Stopped eating it?
Boom. All kinds of stuff. You said, what? Man, you must be working for somebody upstairs.
Wow.
So allergens, number 4. The last one are toxins. Man, this world is dumping. Yes, Monsanto is evil. They're nasty. Okay. Roundup sucks. I find it in people's babies' blood. I've seen it in people. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
They're not the only ones. There's all kinds of nasty ones. Yes, NutraSweet is a neurotoxin. Yes, it creates problems. So is MSG. I don't care if they're grass, generally regarded as safe. I don't need those studies to tell me that what I've seen in tens of thousands of patients. Okay, so that's them: nutritional deficiencies, stressors, microbes, allergens, and toxins. It all boils down to that. Those are the causative factors. Causation, root cause, right? Then I talk about, of course, antecedents, triggers, and mediators. Antecedents are what we're predisposed to, right? If you were vaccinated as a kid, you grew up in the steel mill town, you drank well water, well, that's going to set you up differently than if you grew up in the mountains of Colorado and you followed through the field and your parents were hippies. It's going to be different, okay? Then there's triggers, things that set it off, right? You know, bombs don't blow up, but they have a huge capacity. You just got to smack one in really hard or drop it from high up, and then it'll go off. But just sitting there, it's inert. So triggers. Then mediators are how the body responds to it through inflammatory cascades, right? So that's the point, is that you have to look at the order in which you do stuff and apply it when you have these chronic conditions. So if somebody is working on a diagnosis, if you've been given osteoporosis, rheumatoid arthritis, erectile dysfunction, COPD, bipolar. Remember, all of those are just names. They're just name it, blame it, tame it. They don't really exist. That's what medicine. It's not why. Because you can have fatigue from, let's work through the 5. Can B12 deficiency cause fatigue? Yep. Could B6 deficiency? Yep. Right? What about chromium deficiency? Because you need chromium in order for insulin to work so that glucose can get in the cells, what we call the glucose tolerance factor. So if you're deficiency in chromium, it can produce, so you get my point? So we're talking about fatigue. Could it be nutritional? Yep. Do you think stressors? That's pretty easy, right? Yeah. You know, those could lend to fatigue if you're not sleeping and those things are off. If you have a latent infection, a viral infection or bacterial, can that make you feel fatigued? Yep. Right? What about allergens? What if you're allergic to a food, a pollen, something, you know, more than that, or a chemical? Could that create fatigue? Yep. What about toxins? Well, of course. Right? So you see how you take that disease, right? That CPT code of 0.69. I could bill insurance for that, and that's your diagnosis, and your insurance company will pay me. I don't bill insurance anymore, but that's back in the day. So that diagnosis code, that disease actually has a code that everybody understands. But did that tell me what of those 5 things was causing it? Same thing when it comes to rheumatoid arthritis. It could be heavy metal toxicity. It could be a food allergy causing your body to attack itself. It could be gluten. You could have a parasite causing rheumatoid arthritis, right? It could be stress induced, right? Or there could be deficiencies in collagen and calcium and minerals and stuff like that, causing connective tissue precipitated through your own unique environmental inputs and these kind of things. So no matter what the disease is, you take a deep breath, don't buy into the name it, okay? Because if you do, you're going to blame it on what they're going to tell you what to blame it. And then you're going to, of course, take their corrective action. What I tell people is I don't treat diseases. You can tell me the diagnosis, but I'm going to start afresh. I want to know about you.
Yeah.
What's your story? So listen, chronic disease, I'm actually completing a last degree here, a doctorate in health sciences, right, in integrative healthcare with a concentration in epidemiology and chronic disease. That's my love. I really love getting into true causation of chronic disease so we can finally start talking about it candidly and have people say, listen, the reason why you are bipolar is not because you need an antidepressant or a stimulant. No, it could be in your butt. That's where serotonin is regulated. You know, the happy hormone that we're trying to block the reuptake of? It's made in the colon.
Wow.
Google it, right? But people won't think that, it's a neurochemical. Listen, it's made by microbes. If your gut biome is off, you ain't going to make serotonin from tryptophan. I don't care if you eat it. Right? So then you won't have that. So then it's going to manifest in you as a disease that we can call it. But hey, that's okay. You know, Superman, I've got a pill for you. And I'm not saying, hey, let me just give you some St. John's wort or some 5-HTP. I'm not saying that. Don't think that I'm a pill for every ill kind of guy either.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, what are you nutrient deficient? What stressors do we have to work with? What possible screening of microbes, allergens, and toxins do we have to go from? And then get rid of all of them. And guess what will happen to that bipolar? You're not bipolar anymore.
Amazing.
Same thing with type 2 diabetes. Same thing with headaches, anemias. Now, listen, certain things like, look, I'm not going to reverse sickle cell anemia. That's not a disease, right? That's a genetic dysfunction. It's not a disease. It's a condition. Just like pregnancy is not a disease. It's a condition.
Yeah.
So that's why people go, well, what about, genetic, whatever? Well, guess what? It was your gene being expressed because in one of your parents probably had one of those 5 causative factors that can do it. Because do we know that allergens and toxins and microbes can cause birth defects? Yep. Can they express genes? Do we know that? Yep. See, so it really is pretty a flawless system. But that's my point. Chronic disease does not have to exist. But a person, if they don't buy into it, that's okay. I wish you well.
Yeah.
I love you so much love in the world. It's unbelievable. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to willing to go, what pill do you want to take? The blue or the red?
Yeah. I just want to make a plea to anyone that's listening. Whether you think you're in optimal health, our good friend, Larry, I mean, who worked with you, basically told me that he and his wife had some gut thing that you found that, like, if went unchecked, could have erupted and, like,
yes,
they could have had, like, a really, really sick, I mean, he told me he could have died from this thing if it
ever rose its ugly head, yes.
Yeah. And that's crazy. And these guys, like, these are good friends of ours and super healthy, always watching what they eat, really fit. Like, you don't know what is happening in your system. And my plea is, whether you feel out of balance or you feel amazing, Dr. Beck is going to give you a way to contact him. Have at least the conversation.
Yeah.
Have the conversation and see if this is a right protocol for you, because I am telling you, as someone who is in peak physical condition, when Dr. Beck asked me, like, a couple of months after we were going through this, how I felt, I couldn't even describe how amazing it was, because it felt so effortless. And I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And that's when, look, you're ultimately going to be the one that knows how well you feel. But if I went from, like, feeling great to just not even having a description to how easy and fluid life is, all because of this one test of things that I would have never even thought of, that was worth it for me. If you're, like, not sleeping, if you have headache, if anything, like, and you don't take this, to me, that's just insanity. Like, I just don't even understand why you wouldn't even try it. So with that being said, how do people get in touch with you? Where do they find you?
Yeah, and I mean, real simple. I'm just about everywhere, and that's the thing. So I'll get to that, but I just really want to resonate with how that important is. Not because I'm here to pander for business. Listen, I mean, I'm here, right? I'm blessed beyond measure in life. I've been given a mind that I want to give back and do that. And I'm not the cheapest guy on the planet. I can tell people that, and so I'll save people some time. If you want to, I'm not a registered dietitian. I'm not a coach, right? Okay.
And he doesn't work with insurance, so just
no, I don't bill insurance, but I'm a licensed primary care provider, so I can provide you, patients with stuff so they can bill.
Yeah.
And most of the time, they actually do get reimbursed for labs and stuff. There are some exceptions because, oh man, don't get me started on insurance these days. But no, in other words, I don't want some third party to determine what I can do or can't do or what we get paid. In other words, see, remember, I work for you. You're my boss. You're hiring me to give you consultation.
Yep.
And I see that missed so many times. I mean, I work with a lot of executives, and I've got Hollywood clients and all that kind of fun stuff. But at the end of the day, listen, man, we are all human beings. We all have funky morning breath, and we all have to wipe our butt after we're done. Nobody's any better or worse. I don't care what your gender is, what your color is, what your orientation, none of that kind of stuff. I just got love to give, and I want to free people's minds from the bullshit that we have when I call medical care, right?
Yeah.
I want you to get your power of attorney back. Right? You are in control. And if you're really trying to, if you're a business person or an executive or anything like that, and you're not taking that, but you're still buying, $2,000 tailored suits and $150, shoes and things like that, and you're not whatever, you're going to be a statistic. I mean, look at the statistics. We even talked about that when it comes to the big killers of people.
Yeah.
Right? We can prevent that stuff. I'm 42. My bride's 25. I got a, brand new little 20-month-old, and I just had my teenager turn 15 today. So, I got to be on point.
Yeah.
And so I practice what I preach, but I'm a good old boy from North Carolina, right? We think swine is divine. I'm not always perfect. Cocktails are great. I don't smoke or do that kind of fun stuff. But here's the deal. I want people to know that I'm going to be very candid up front. I'm not politically correct. I don't pussyfoot around, and I'm going to tell you straight up. But I'm going to be, professional with you. But listen, if you really are ready, that's the only people I want to contact. Yeah. I'm not interested in people. Well, let's just kind of talk about what do you think about alkaline water or juicing, right? So I have basically two types of consults, just to be crystal clear. If you want to become a patient and you're like, yep, sign me the heck up. I want to do a comprehensive consultation. That's going to take me about 2 hours. Okay. If you want just a check-in, if you're worried, want to do kind of like where you're at, Ilan, the thing is then I can do basically a clinical opinion. It's kind of an introductory thing. We'll spend about a half hour. When I say half hour, you can see me in the gift of gab. That means it's going to be about 45 right? But I put that in my bookings and stuff so that way I don't run over for people and make them wait in the lobby. And that's the other thing. I see patients virtually. I got patients from all around the world, right? It's called technology. It's Skype. I don't have the overhead of an office, right? I'm going to send you to your primary care and have people physically touch you, eye, ears, nose, and throat, and really listen. Medicine is important. We don't cut corners here. There are certain things that really need to have happen, and my colleagues out there are awesome to do it. It's just what we do with the data that's different, in what order we do it. So different consults. You can contact me on website is dranthoneygbeck.com. Dr. Anthony, Anthony, G. I'm another Glenn Beck. I'll hold it against me. BK.com. dranthoneygbeck.com. I'm also on Facebook. You can like me there. Everything across my brands, all the way when it comes to Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. The only thing is always /Dr. Anthony G. Beck. I learned well from guys.
Yeah, and I'll have this, guys, in the resource guide, so just look under the show notes. You'll have everything there with all the links and everything. And the other thing I want to just say is, for me, aside from the fact of what I learned, I now feel like I have someone in my corner that, look, he spends more time learning and understanding what is out there than any human being I've ever met. There is not a single thing that I've ever asked Dr. Beck that has to do with any sort of health, supplement, protein shake, like I said, peanut butter, almond. It doesn't matter. Like, I have someone in my corner that I can go to and just ask a quick question like, is this good for me, my body, right? And within 5 minutes, I have an answer. I no longer have to wad through the bullshit online of trying to figure out, why did someone write this blog post to promote so-and-so? Is it because they're somehow in cahoots with this company? I don't have to worry about that shit anymore.
And I'm going to give it unbiased. I talk about my program called Balance Protocol. So balance is my word. I talk about giving a balanced understanding. I like to tell both sides of the story, and then let you come to the decision based upon you, and encourage you to quantify it based upon your life, your environmental inputs, your biochemistry, and things like that. So that's the difference. Yeah. If people are going to ask me like, well, what do you think? Well, what do you think about the flu shot? All debate in the world, all sides. Let me put it this way. It's complete bullshit. I'll never get one. Don't recommend patients get one, but you got to make your decision. All the disclosure, blah, 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 blah. Listen, I'm not afraid to speak. It's called, Title 17 of U.S. Code and freedom to speak. So opinion, I'm not telling you to do that, but hey, listen, if you go and get a flu shot because you're still scared, okay, great. Well, then what I'm going to do is say, well, in that case, we need to support certain things in the immunopathways and the different things that this possibly could affect. Right. So again, when I work for somebody, it really makes a difference that way. So I can't always get back to him in 5 minutes, but
that's what I meant. I didn't mean like he's in.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm like, But I usually say, give me 48 hours on an email. Yeah. Give me a few minutes. But as you know, with patients, they get a value added benefit. I get back to not just the science of medicine, but the art of it.
Exactly.
It's the center of it and say, hey, listen, I might cost a little bit, but I'm not an attorney who's going to hit that thing, go ding, and bill you for it. I'm going to say, got a quick question, right? You can even text message me. People actually get my phone, all right? And because I want you to have that feel and raise that bar and demand more from our caregivers in this country. I want to show you how it's done. I want to live it. Just like back there for you, it's educate and empower and prosper. Mine is educate, motivate, and inspire. That's my job. I want to educate you on the true root causes of disease, motivate you to take solid corrective action in your life, and inspire you to your highest levels of well-being. I don't want mediocre, just getting by, anti-aging, blah, blah, blah. I freaking rock and roll, man. I don't have a backstory that says I had this debilitating disease and I had this an epiphany and I was blessed by this angel that came down and told me. No, I grew up in a single wide trailer, raised ducks, country boy, broke as the damn day is long, bowl cut, haircut, growing up in the 70s and 80s. But you know what? I made good. And I've learned some things, and my patients teach me that. And so it's what you learn after you know it all that counts.
Yeah.
And so I'd never get tired of a new patient story and basically help them write their novel and unfolding this. And I like to be like a CSI agent of health, really getting down to what it is. And we discover it together. Sometimes I don't know. I'll go, I don't know. But I'll be able to go through a process of work and balance protocol, get you the answer.
Yeah. It's just so refreshing. I know for people that actually care about our health and are out there trying to take care of ourselves and to just navigate through like what is good and what is bad and what, like, just to alleviate that. Like, I don't even have that concern anymore because I have Dr. Beck. Dr. Beck is like that part of my brain that now when I have a health question, I'm like, he's like the ultimate source of this stuff. So if this is important to you, highly, 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 highly encourage you to schedule a consultation. I can't stress enough. I mean, even for me, you know, I remember when I spoke to you, I was like, really? It's that, you know, like, this is not as cheap as I thought. And I'm telling you right now that I would do it 4 times over and I would pay you more knowing what I got now. It's just been that kind of experience with you across the board. And my brother says the same exact thing. He was like, that 2 hours that he spent with you on the consult was the most mind-bending thing. He was like, I can't believe the amount of stuff that he told me in 2 hours.
Yeah, I try to get to the point because people want to live their life. You know, my little phrase is I'm in the in the mode of losing business, right? So that's my thing is I want you to get well and get the hell up out of here. Just go tell your story. Like, I'm I mean, I'm humble. That's what I'm saying. And thank you. And I appreciate that. I really do. But there's so many other stories that are never told. So it's always nice to have that out there. But I'm not looking, you know, for that. But I want people to enjoy it. That's the reason why we've gone to hell in a handbag. And we have this chronic disease epidemic. It's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrible.
But people have to come back and get grounded and start loving themselves and investing in them just a little bit more. And you'll opt out of all this crap. You know what I mean?
Couldn't agree more. Well, Dr. Beck, thank you so much. Obviously for me personally, but for coming out here and sharing this information with people. I'm sure anyone listening, this opened up, hopefully, your eyes. And more importantly, like, just take a look at where you are in your health world, right? And do an evaluation and take the leap. That's all I can tell you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, man. I really
we'll probably have you back on because there's some other things that you said now that I'm like, oh, we should have spoken about that. But
listen and do that because you know I've got the time, you know, and the thing about I'll make the time, I should say. But if you have questions like that, I mean, I love what you guys do. I mean, you know, damn, I'm getting ready to get my education on. Like, what? Do that? Business? What? Well, I never knew that. What the hell is that? Social media? No, because you can see I'm, you know, but anyhow, so the thing is again, that's where I need some help and love and encouragement and inspiration and motivation, right? So give back. And if you're, but I also have learned, like listening to you guys, the importance of, you know, engaging with who you are and whose ear you have, because they're very selective these days. They'll hold the bullshit flag and wave that sucker in a minute.
Yeah.
If there is a particular topic, I don't care how controversial or maybe as it appertains, I can stay on point. And I'd love to cover a particular topic as your audience asks for it, and we'll just vent it out right here or do another panel. That nootropic one was awesome.
That's right. That's right. Guys, so that's a good point. Like, if you have questions, right, as a follow-up to this, okay, I'll give you guys my email address. It's Ilan, ILAN, @satoriprime.com. You can always email me direct with the questions. You can leave them in the comments below the YouTube video. Whatever is easier for you, leave the questions. We'll monitor it, and then we'll have a follow-up and like hit up some of those specific questions. And in the meantime, again, if you have something going on in your life, just get in touch with Dr. Beck. And I'll leave again the links and how to get in touch with him. And again, Dr. Beck, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this. Appreciate you, love you, and we'll do this again real soon.
Much love too. I just hope everybody to just live life in balance.
That's right, baby. Was that amazing or what? Does this guy know his stuff? I mean, he just blows me away every single time that I speak to him. Every time it's just like a complete whirlwind of education. Half the time I talk to him, guys, I still don't understand what he's talking about. But I will tell you this, and I've said this in the interview. If you're serious about your health, if you've been out there reading this blog and that blog and you've gotten good results, I'm all for it, right? I was doing it. I'm a self-proclaimed biohacker and health fanatic, right? But at the end of the day, what I learned is that there's a lot of misinformation out there, and there's people just trying to educate you so that you're a good customer for them. Now, I'm not saying that Dr. Beck is not one of those people, but I will tell you this. When you actually physically look under your own hood and you understand how your engine operates, that to me is data. That to me is information. You know, one of the things that we do at Satori Prime, we're Facebook agency, right? I'm driving Facebook traffic over $300,000+ a month for some of the top marketers in the world today. Guess what that gives me? That gives me a ton of data that I can go after, and I know why Facebook operates a certain way. Now, Dr. Beck has that ability in the health world. And so I don't have that ability. I'm not spending, time with tens of thousands of patients to figure out what actually works and what does not. He does. He also understands the way that the biology of a body works and what needs to happen in that body. So for me, it was just a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. And now I know that what I'm putting into my body and what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis is actually providing not only fitness and health and all that stuff now, but it's providing longevity, right? And I can monitor and track how I am on that path to longevity. And that for me is very important. So if you are in fact interested in taking your health to that kind of level, I highly, highly, highly encourage you guys to get in contact with Dr. Anthony G. Beck, have that consultation. I'm sure you will be as blown away as I was. And with that, let's go and make 2015 the most amazing year of our lives. I just wanted you guys to have this before we kick that off. And next week's episode, I cannot believe it, is the 100th episode. 100 performance enhancing podcast episodes. That's crazy. And I've done something really, really special for you guys. So make sure you come and listen, because I've basically formulated a way that we can actually have 2015 be the year of our lives, and not just another New Year's resolution that goes by the wayside 2-3 months down the road and we go, I guess we'll wait for next year. All right. So make sure you tune into episode 100. And again, if you have any questions for me, aside from leaving a rating and comments below this video, which you can always do, or on iTunes, you can always email me directly at Ilan, I-L-A-N, at satoriprime.com. Have an amazing, amazing day, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Performance Enhancing Podcast. We've taken this pep talk and created a custom action guide so you know exactly what action steps to take now to grow your business. Just head over to satoriprime.com/podcast and download it for free. Also, please leave a comment and rate this podcast on iTunes. It'll help us get the word out. Thanks for listening. Now, go and implement. We'll see you next time.
Did you run through doors till you